Chicago. Oh boy, look how bright that light just got. I'm usually used to doing this on like a better camera, but I thought I'd spend a couple minutes with you and let me know if you can hear me right now. That'd be helpful. But for now, I guess I'll assume that you can. I don't really have an agenda for today, other than just talking about leather. And we're in the workshop right now. I can show you a couple things that we're sending out. Some stuff we finished yesterday. It's like we got some of the new Vic snap wallets going out. This one's in English tan, which I love that leather. Here's another one in natural shell going to Paolo. The first one is going to Maxim. We got Raymond getting this private stock cobalt blue along with another English tan. Thanks, Raymond. Can you guys hear me? Let me know if things are coming through. And what else we got here? I got a bunch of stuff. I just can't show you the table because there's people's addresses here. There is for Brandon in Singapore. Incredible. You got a color 8 shell Vic coming your way. Have you ever looked at leathers? Hey, what's up, Christopher? Can you hear me, Christopher? Just give me a nice. Christopher says, oh God, the chat goes away quickly. Have you ever looked at leathers used by baseball glove makers? Are they comparable? I used to make baseball glove leather for Horween leather, and they would sell it to Rawlings and some other baseball glove makers. They're different, and the Horween stuff in particular was mostly used for like catcher's mitts gloves because I guess the noise that the ball makes when it hits the Horween stuff is a more threatening noise. I don't know enough about baseball gloves to know if there's like a functional difference other than that threatening noise. I do know that there's a famed Heart of the Hide line from Rawlings where they claim that that's better. I don't really know too much about it, but the big thing is it's really strong and tough and super chrome tanned. So really, really tough, strong leather is baseball glove. It tends to have a really big chrome streak in the middle of it. And it tends to be, when we thin it down to something for like a wallet, it tends to be a little softer and a little bit more pebbly than what most of our customers like. But yeah, good question. And let me keep showing you some stuff here. Any questions you guys have too, hit me up. Brandon's also getting some Tanner's Blend, and I'm actually not wearing them today because it's supposed to snow. But my natural chrome excel trench boots, I conditioned with this stuff recently. It works really, really great. Here's something for Miguel in the Philippines. I always seem to have a hard time properly capturing how awesome this Color 8 Dublin is. But it looks like Miguel's getting Color 8 Dublin Vic and a couple other Vics that we already looked at, and this natural shell Tony, which is really nice. Thanks, Miguel. What else do we have? This is kind of fun. Looks like Vadim in Israel also getting some stuff here. We got another Vic that's got some Saphir cordovan cream on it. All that little like hazy look. So you still have to brush this one smooth. And then a little Chicago comb sheath also in the Dublin. And then we've actually got all that sitting in one of the XL Valet trays right now. And Chunwei in Florida. So we got a Frank the Enforcer also in the Color 8 shell going out today with the Vic Snap Wallet. So a lot of the Snap Wallets, we're trying to clean up some of those pre-orders. Looks like there's some cool stuff over here for, I know Sherman usually comes into the chats here. We got some really cool Western texture stuff for Sherman going out. This vault key holder, a Lexington key holder. It looks like we still have to construct a couple key fobs in the Western, and some reverse stuff too for him. Sorry, Christopher, I saw your chat there. Thanks for the detail, Lancer. I was used Rawlings growing up and playing in college. I was a pitcher, and the sound of the catcher's mitt does make a large difference for the pitchers, for the hitters. Yeah, it's funny. I didn't know that I wouldn't have thought of the sound to be relevant, but it's when somebody explained that to me, it kind of made sense. So you want this threatening noise when the ball hits the catcher's glove to sort of intimidate the hitter a little bit. Also, hopefully you found the title of today's video funny, because sometimes people say I look like Charlie from Always Sunny, and I thought it'd be funny. Good story, right? I'm in our, I call this the leather dungeon. This is where we keep all of our leather that's ready to cut. So behind me here is one of the racks where we keep a lot of the side leather. So that's where we keep things separated, usually by thickness. And historically, it might not be completely this way right now, but historically we've kept some of the lighter weight stuff up on the top and the heavier weight stuff on the bottom. So leathers that we would use that we need a little bit thinner, like Johnny the Fox interiors, we put up on the top. And then sort of the wallet weight stuff on this shelf here. In fact, that's a piece of Luxe right there, which we don't really have much left of. And then sort of down the bottom, more of a belt weight stuff. We've been selling a lot of belts. So if you picked up a belt, thank you guys so much. I'm wearing one of our English hand belts right now, and I've been wearing it for 2 years. And I really like our belts. I think we have really good, like, to me, it's the best casual sort of jean belt. Really comfortable, and it's because there's not any extra to it. And I think sometimes some of the extra creates a little bit of discomfort. And I think sometimes a backing leather that is firmer than the outside leather makes the outside leather look a little bit worse, and then sometimes it just, that lamination of two pieces together can sometimes be a little too firm, which is kind of a vibe too. Like sometimes you want to break it in, and that's kind of fun. I had a funny question, and I've heard this asked a few times about shell cordovan, and there's this question of like, is cordovan even a leather? So somebody asked me that, and I said yes, but I think that the notion is that because it's so different, and it's not necessarily the grain of the animal, that it should be considered something else. I don't know if I buy that. To me, it's anything that comes from an animal that you're treating to be everlasting and durable should be considered a leather. So I actually have some of our test cuttings here. This is Color 8 Chrome Excel for our belts, and you can see we've done some punching. Yeah, you like that, Austin? I don't necessarily look like Charlie so much right now, but definitely gotten that comment before. But something like the Chrome Excel here, you can see the grain layer here. This is the where your hair would be on your skin. That's sort of the same thing here, but on a steer hide or a bovine. You get grain on all sorts of leathers, but the shells, here's a cut piece of a natural shell for the exterior of a fat Herbie. So the shells, technically there is no grain on this at all, and that's why it's so smooth. But this right here, the shell is actually just a membrane that is subcutaneous. It's underneath the skin that the tannery has to sort of dig down to get down to this dense fiber layer that's called the shell. It only happens in the hindquarters of equine animals. So technically, it is not grain, and some people get confused calling this not leather for that reason. But to me, that's a little strange. To me, it's certainly leather. But yeah, I'm here for you. If you guys have any questions, I sort of have a couple minutes here before I have to get to doing some photos. King of Rats. Yes. I'm assuming that's an Always Sunny reference. I don't know it. Grayson says, only had my Tony the Ant in English and Dublin for 2 weeks, and it's already aging super well. Definitely pleased with the purchase. I'm really happy to hear that, Grayson. And it's only going to get better, is my experience with the Dublin. It's one of those things that you can wear every day that goes in a positive direction than a negative direction. It doesn't tend to wear out. It tends to sort of improve and look a little bit more interesting every day. Steve says, just been binge watching Sunny for last week. Can't believe I've waited to catch up. Yeah, I haven't seen all of them, but I think Charlie's very funny. Actually, I think all of them are pretty funny. Mike K, what's up, man? I guess I should show you Mike K says, anything special you're looking forward to today or this week? Yeah. Today, I'll give you a heads up. So today and yesterday I started on a new batch of private stock. So we've created some new private stock items. And yesterday I started collecting all of them and started taking photographs of some of the private stock stuff. So today and tomorrow I'll be creating all that content and hopefully launching the private stock stuff this week. And the way it's looking right now is this might be the most items we've ever done. And the way that I did it, it sort of like starts down here in this room. It's like I kind of look through our room of leather here and find things that are interesting to me, and then I'll cut them into wallet designs that I think are interesting. And then the other thing I like to do is sort of make a good mix of different styles, because I know not everybody might want a Fat Herbie and not everybody wants a Tony the Ant. So we mix them up, and then we'll have moments where if I get like a really interesting tumbled or marbled piece, or I'm looking at a bin here called Funky Shells, or is it Funky Shells? So sometimes if we have a huge context of something, I like to cut that into something larger, like a tall Herbie has a really good exterior piece, or the passport holders that we launched very recently have a really large piece that are great for things like a huge, interesting brand or marbling. Like, we've got some incredible piece here of marbled cigar that you certainly won't be able to see that well. Let's get better light. And this is sort of the disadvantage of not having a real camera, is it sort of blasting the light a little too much. But marbled cigar, incredible how it goes from that brown to sort of like orangey, as opposed to the marbled color 8 is sort of brown to like a reddish orange. And I've got a stack of cool marbled cigars here. So I'm looking forward to that. My daughter turned 1, so she's officially a toddler, and there's some new things that we're working on with her, like how to drink out of a straw. So I'm looking forward to that. Silly things. Looking forward to watching stupid Netflix shows and riding a Peloton. Looking forward to playing music. I've been playing a lot of bass guitar recently. Let's see. What else did you guys say there? Good question. I appreciate the questions. Dave says, how is the Grant Stone you bought a year ago holding up? I have... Which Grant Stone are you referring to? You might be talking about the black Chrome Excel diesel boots, or you may be talking about the natural Chrome Excel diesel boots. And I also have some long wings in the, they call it Dune Chrome Excel. The Dune Chrome Excel diesel boots I have are incredible. I really, really like them. I feel like I wish, this is hard to say. I kind of feel like, I wish they were tighter to begin with and like slightly uncomfortable to start with. And then I wish, because they've become very roomy now. And I think I like, and I don't think it's correct, which is why I'm so hesitant. I think I like feeling held in a little bit more as opposed to having a lot of room. But the sizing is correct for me. They've just sort of let out as I've worn them. But they're beautiful, man. I haven't worn them too much because of this patina Thunderdome thing. I've been wearing the Oak Street trench boots for that. And the big difference between those, the upper leathers are the same, but the outsoles on the diesel boots are the sort of micro stud Vibram or day-night style, where the trench boots have the leather sole, and I find the leather sole to be very comfortable. So I'm kind of going, I think most of the stuff I do going forward is going to be leather sole, or something like the Neo Cork sole from Alden. I've really enjoyed too. There's something about those a little bit more flexible outsoles that I find to be really comfortable, where sometimes the rubber stuff is just like a little too firm, a little less comfortable for me. But I don't know, I'm an idiot. And then I have, I had been wanting some black boots, and I picked up black Chrome Excel diesel boots from Wyatt at Grandstone with a leather outsole. And I got those a couple weeks before this Thunderdome thing happened, so I haven't worn those too much. And they came super shiny, like very much like a mirror shine. And as they've worn in, it's become definitely less bright and shiny. But I guess if I'm being really honest, I'm not loving how the break is looking on the black Chrome Excel as much as I like the way that it looks on the natural Chrome Excel. I don't really know if it's just that piece of leather, but it almost looks to me like the leather at the tannery could have been, we call it overplating, where they put a sandblast. It's technically like an emboss, but they would do it on a roller plate. And if you put a little too much pressure on there, it sort of presses the grain into the rest of the skin a little bit too much, and then it starts to delaminate and separate off in a less pleasant way in my eyes. It sort of looks a little junkier. So it could be an effect of the overplating, or it could be an effect of sort of like heating it up and over polishing it. I'm not really certain why it's happening, but I'll after this Thunderdome thing's over, those are the next boots that I want to wear a lot of, because I really dig into leather sole, and black is awesome too. Yeah. All right. Well, I got a couple more minutes here. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. But I wanted to show you in the private stock thing coming up there. I noticed there's a couple of these M's Chrome Excel items, and we're gonna get confusing soon because the M's Chrome Excel is the name of a tannage, but you can put that tannage onto different types of hides. This one happened to have been done on a horse hide, and I love it. If you saw the teaser at the end of one of my recent videos, I teased out some M's calfskin, which we have here somewhere. That actually might even be it. Is it? I'll dig through and find. Oh, here it is. Yeah, these are up here actually. This leather's so nice. I'm gonna make some room. So the reason that we're gonna get confusing is because there's going to be a small run that we're able to do out of this one bundle. You see it all here. This is all the leather I have. And it looks like 63 square feet of it. 63.7 square feet. So these are made on an actual calfskin, where most leather that's marketed as calfskin these days is not actual calf. And I can prove to you that these are real calf by showing you the skin here. And it looks like each skin, I'll just read off the area of them. 3.7 feet, 3.2 feet, 4.3 feet, 3.9. So they're really small. And to give you a reference is the adults, each half of the hide is about 20 to 25 square feet. So 50 feet for the hide. You know, these are 2, 3, and 4 feet roughly. Actual calf. And man, these are nice. All right, get ready. So this is the russet color. Look at this thing. And there you go. This is the measurement on the back here. 3.2. Well, here's the grain side. And this stuff is, I really hope this translates, but this is so incredibly nice. The grain texture is really, really subtle and refined. And then there's this figuring that I know a lot of people like, that it also has. And I wonder how well we'll be able to show that. Let's see if I can do a better job here. Hang tight, hang tight. There we go. So you can see the whole skin here. It's very small, actual calf. And then we've got these lines going this direction. You see it? It might be hard to see. This really cool figuring happening. See that? It's really, really neat. And then the grain itself is just really, really fine and awesome. So the reason that these are cool is I have a wallet that we made for Skip years ago out of this stuff. And Skip sort of sits on leathers that he finds interesting. And he's finally decided to offer them to me because he loves his Herbie so much. So he wanted us to do a run of these. And I was looking at it in person here. It's not as bright as it's showing on this iPad camera. These are really incredible. So we'll be doing these pretty soon, but that's what's going to get confusing is that russet calf I just showed you is the same leather as this, but this is on a horse hide. So the grain character is going to be a bit different on the horses as opposed to the calf. So we're gonna have to be careful of naming things. I might just call this like calf, just to make it really simple. But it is M's Chrome Excel, which is the mechanical version of the Chrome Excel leather. It's a little bit more wax content as opposed to oil content, so it's slightly firmer, a little bit less stretch, and then it's more grainy than the traditional Chrome Excel finish. But I've got some of these coming in the private stock stuff this week, as well as some really cool, like the last of the green Dublin that we had. And if you've been following us for a bit, you may have seen some other private stock drops in the green Dublin that have like a little bit more texture and figuring than I'm used to on the Dublin. And these are also cut from that same Dublin. It almost looks like this Dublin was boarded. Um, and actually, this would be a good time for me to demonstrate boarding. But if I take this leather and I fold the grain back in on itself and then sort of roll it this direction, we come up with these linear patterns in the grain, especially if I put a little bit of pressure on it. So that, oh, perfect camera angle, right? So if I take it down like this and sort of press pretty hard and roll it back on itself, we get this, it's called backboarding, and we get this linear texture. And that Dublin kind of has this same sort of boarded vibe. It almost looks like it was boarded and then they applied the wax over it for that particular batch of green Dublin. And that's, this week you'll be seeing the last stuff made out of it. All right. I think I may have missed some comments here. Let's see what you guys got. If you had any. Oh, Mike K says, perfect question. Mike says, any favorite coffee shops or roasters around Ashland? It's not the best coffee, but it's certainly the best deal. Right across the street here, we have a Panera, and they have this $9 a month coffee thing that I just get coffee from there every day. I'll make a pot at home of something like Intelligentsia here and bring 2 of these to work. And then once I'm done drinking these, I'll go to Panera and get more coffee. But I grind Intelligentsia, or there's another one called Two Brothers, which is like a beer place. So I'll buy those beans and just grind them at home and make it at home, bring them in. But honestly, I do a lot of Panera just because it's close and easy. Steve says, I was able to pick up a Black Shell Viber boot from their sample sale. Oh, cool. Did you go to New York for that? I was considering going there. It's just difficult to do stuff. I was actually trying to get my buddy Nick Horween to go with me. Pajama Man says, would calfskin be a thinner piece of leather, maybe good for a NATO? Yeah. Here's the deal with the NATOs is some watches have a very small clearance, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Sometimes on certain watches, the distance from the case of the watch to the spring bar is really tight. And doing a NATO, fitting it all the way between that spring bar and the case and then back through the other side, sometimes you need extra thin leathers and then the piece is really long. So it's difficult for us to do that on the cordovan because they tend to be thicker, and a long piece is kind of rare, especially a thin long piece. But these, I have a weight gauge right here, so let's gauge it out. Weight gauge. And the way that this works is there's this guy that goes up and down, and it's 0 right there, and you can see it goes to 4 1/4 there. And if I take it and snap it on here, I got 2.5, 2.5, 3, 2 3/4, 2.5. So pretty great thickness. And actually I've had some people, after I did that sort of sneak teaser of this calf, I showed Skip's Herbie. Had some people message me about getting some custom stuff. One of the people was interested in a Johnny the Fox. So I'm going to make a bunch of foxes out of these because I think it's just about perfect for those. And it's beautiful. What else do you got? Good question. I only have a couple more minutes here. Steve used a proxy. Ah, smart man. What kind of coffee grinds you infuse into the Arabica Lux? That's a good question. The serious answer is none, but I would probably put some Arabica beans in there, right? I have the Arabica. Floyd, what's up, Floyd? I do have a little bit of the Arabica here, which is that leather that's new to the world, really, but Alden started using it a bit, and Horween has been selling it. I think some other people are also using the Arabica. It was originally a leather that was made for shot doing jackets. It has this really great, almost like a pebble grain, but it's got this sort of sugary crackle to it, and it's got a really great feel, which is why they started calling it Luxe. And then Arabica is the color. It's like a really dark coffee. I miss some people. The only problem doing this iPad, it's great because it's very easy for me to quickly do something, but it's hard to see the chat. Beef that wanted some black shell from the sample sale. Man, I gotta go to that Viberg thing. But he picked up bourbon. Huge pickup. Ian said, better be some single origin coffee. I think the Intelligentsia stuff is pretty fancy, but I'm not sure if it's single origin. It probably is. But you mean for the Arabica? Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. The sample sale had a ton of burnt oak Dublin. That's cool. I wonder what that would look like, because I think sometimes the names get like rebranded. I wonder if that was like a darker English tan, or if it was like a lighter brown, like the brown nut. Steve says the shell had some slight oversteam on the vamp, not noticeable. Never thought I'd buy a black boot, but I agree the black shell is so underrated, man. You know what I think it is, and I think about it a lot. We sell black wallets, but not as many as like brown or crazier colors. And I think it's people come into me or Viberg, they already got a black shoe or a black boot or a black wallet, and they want something unique. And I feel like people think that the black shell is like not very unique. I think that's why it's so underrated. It's like you could kind of get black a lot of places, but there's something magical about black shell for sure. Scuffing on the vamp on your bourbon shell. Yeah, that's like such a huge. So honestly, like for me, if I was a customer of Viberg or my own stuff, I would buy the regulars all day. It's like the stuff's fine. It's like sometimes I can't in good conscience send something that has like a scuff in it that I can't get out. But really, like when you wear it for 5 minutes, you're probably going to get a similar scuff. And then it tends to blend itself in anyways, especially on something like Shell or the Dublin. It's a huge pickup. So I strongly recommend my irregulars or their sample sale. Darker English tan, yeah. Ian says I've been eyeing a pair of Alden Black Shell straight tips for a long time. Nice. Yeah, I need to. The problem with being human is that we only have 2 feet, and I have so many. I probably would buy a lot more shoes if they didn't last so freaking long. Because like I've had some 405 indie boots that I've loved for a decade, and I always think about wearing them, and then I look at the rest of the shoe rack and I go, man, I want to wear that too. I'd probably buy a lot more stuff if they fell apart, but then again, maybe I wouldn't. Like I think I like it because I can have it for a long time and it becomes a special treasure to me. But I don't know. Floyd says, do you like the new Emscaf Herbies, Phil? There's only one that exists at this moment, and it's upstairs on my desk. Maybe we should walk up there. I'll show that to you before I head out, but there's only one that exists at this present moment, and we're gonna do I was thinking about doing pre-orders for stuff, but there's only, you just saw, there's only a few square feet of it. There's actually another color also, which is a navy blue. So we only have a handful of pieces, that the only things that exist, and probably be the only that ever exist. And there's only been one wallet made out of it so far. And here it is. So this is how the M's wears in. See if I can get better light here to show you. But like, so this is Skip's Herbie made out of the M's calf, and that is how bright it is. it's developed an incredible patina. So we got all sorts of layers of luster that have developed, and you can see the color has sort of picked up where the money was put inside of here, and then the credit cards in the corner. Just the way that this thing is aged, I think this is Skip's favorite leather that he's worn, and it's a shame they just can't do it again. The sourcing calfskins is not something that is very easy to do. So let's finish up reading a couple more of your comments, and then I gotta get to making wallets. Good question, Floyd. And that's the only Herbie that exists in the M's calf, and it's incredible. So I'm really excited for it. Beefet says Ashton was totally represented at the sale. Several of us took a pic of our shell Herbies. Man, that's so cool. And I want to say Ben from Stitchdown took the pic, but don't quote me. Oh, Ben was there. Ben's fun, man. I find him to be endlessly entertaining. Yeah, and there's a darker navy calf M's Chrome Excel too. Pajama Man, always been curious how black shell wears. Been going for a lot of tumble verdigris just because it wears so well. Scuffs actually look amazing on it. If you have a piece around, I do have a piece. We'll end it on that then, and then I'll take off. We had a few people message me recently that wanted some of the tumble verdigris, which is another Skip invention. We liked the idea. See, Floyd, we really liked the color, the way that the reverse side of the black shell looks. It's kind of that greenish, like the way copper ages. That sort of color. But I did have a few people message me recently wanting some stuff in the tumble verdigris. So you'll notice, like this piece here, I'll grab two pieces and we'll look at them. What's up, It's Renters? It's Harvey from England. Oh man, all the way from England. You're Black Dublin. We're talking about black shell, but Black Dublin is also criminally underrated. I love Black Dublin. All right, we're gonna end it on this, guys. Appreciate hanging out with you, and I appreciate you being here, especially because I never give any notice. But a lot of people check this stuff out in the future too, and your questions are gonna help them be entertained watching this instead of me just hanging out. So this is tumble verdigris, and it's a really cool, like even the reverse side here, just a great color, and then the way it wears in. Starts off kind of dull, but definitely gets brighter and more shiny when it's worn. This piece here is a little bit flatter in terms of texture than most of the tumble verdigris, which is why you can see I cut, you can see it starts to get a little bit more pebbly down here. Because I cut a little bit more of an interesting section that was more pebbled down here for a particular order. Somebody wanted a particular pattern. But this stuff is also nice. It just doesn't have that intense pebbling. This piece doesn't either. It has a little bit more of it. So you see where we get this sort of, we call it a tipped effect, where the leather has peaks and valleys in the texture. Sometimes those peaks in the tumbling process get polished up a little bit more than the valleys. So you get this interesting sort of tonal depth with a dark peak and a lighter valley. And that's what you're seeing in some of this here, along with this R brand there, or whatever this WER, I don't know what it says. See on the other side, WCR, I don't know, RCW. Maybe it's I don't know what it is, but that's a brand. And that's tumbled Verdigris. But hey, thanks, thank you guys again. If you have any questions, I read the comments here, so if you want to leave a question in the comments, definitely do that, or you can hit me up, phil@ashlandleather.com. And Pajama Man says, out of curiosity, how is tumbled Verdigris made? What kind of shell leather would you consider before tumbling? It's kind of made in the same way as black shell, where they apply the black dyes to the shell side of the leather and then they dip it in water, and that water accumulates with the black dye. And the interesting thing is the black dye that they use for the shells are tinted as a green black. So you may not know this, but every black has a certain tint to it. It can be like a red black, a blue black. In this case, it's a green black. So that water accumulates, it gets a little bit green. And think of like an Easter egg, sort of like dip dyeing an Easter egg. It's the same thing. And they'll just take that water and dip this piece into it, and it gets that green color. And then he steam tumbles it in a wooden drum, and it gets that tumble effect. Good question. All right, have a great day. You too, it's Renters, and everybody else. Appreciate you being here.